Hi there, I'm Tina and my workshop is right next door to the Makers Studio at the Hive, which I know quite a few of you have been and visited along with Carol on your Mondays when you've been doing a project with some other fantastic makers with leather work. And also I think you might have done glass work as well, or felting. I think you might have done felting. And so my skill, as you can see from around me, is I use wool and I use stitch to create some fantastic tapestry designs. And I'm going to be showing you how to do running stitch and also back stitch on the two shapes that were sent to you in your kit. Okay, let's take a look at what you get in your pack. You have got this really handy piece of paper, some different coloured wools, hey, a little needle, and you will also have got a circle plastic canvas, and you will also have received a star one too. We're going to work on the circle one, and I'm going to start to show you how to create this absolutely epic and beautiful piece of stitching that looks like a rainbow. You know when you get a double rainbow, it's red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. They're the colours of the rainbow. But if you get a double rainbow, it goes backwards. And so we've got a double rainbow on here. Loving it. Okay, let's just start by threading our needle. Little bit of paper in the kit. Take your paper, fold the paper over the wool, get your needle, hello, thread the paper through the needle and then pull the paper through and ta-da! That's the first skill that we're learning today. Let's take a look. On the plastic canvas of the circle, you'll see that there is a definite line through the centre. And that's the line that we're going to stitch to create our first rainbow. See how it is on there. Take your threaded needle and push it through. Oop. Pulled it all the way through. But what you've got to do is catch that tail that I just pulled all the way through. Hold onto the tail like that and go into the first hole. Come back up through the hole and you see I've caught the tail a little bit. So it's anchored in now. So we don't need a knot or anything like that. Into the next hole. Up into the next one. And then down. This stitch is called running stitch. And I reckon it's called running stitch because it goes really fast. And it's also a little bit like 2 feet, isn't it? Running along, going all the way around. So I'm going to show you how long it takes me to get around the other side. But you know what? There's no rush. Because the way that I see it is that if you stitch to finish, if you go really fast at stitching, what happens is that you don't get the same effect and the same quality as if you are stitching just in enough time, just so that you enjoy it. Come through, carry on. There's been so many different rainbows, hasn't there, in people's windows and things like that, whilst we've all been in lockdown. And it's really great to see people coming together, isn't it? And it's a fantastic symbol of rainbow, isn't it? Really cheerful, really happy. And it's got some brilliant colours in it as well, isn't it? Colours that you can put together yourself to create different designs. When you're thinking about whether you want to use stitch or tapestry for your product at the end of them, I think it's a market that you're going to be doing, isn't it, later on in the year. Think about all the different people that love stitch and also the people that may be brand new to stitch. Is it something that when they look at it, they can think, wow, I wouldn't mind having a go at that? Or is it something if they look at it and go, wow, I would never know how to do that? Always worth thinking, isn't it, if you're making a unique product. Move along. And I'm just going to finish here. Okay, we finished here. Turn it over. Weave your needle through. Pull it and snip off. Snip off as you're going along. Okay, we've done our first row of running stitch. It didn't take long, but we really had a good time doing it. Now we're going to start doing backing stitch. Start off in the left hand side again. Exactly the same as you did when you were starting to do the running stitch. Go in. And then come back up through the same hole again that we did on running stitch. But instead of going forward, we're going to go back. And this stitch, imaginatively, is called back stitch. Into that hole. Remember, instead of going forward like we would on running stitch, go back. And then we're going to stitch all the way around with back stitch. Back stitch is a really great stitch. If you have a look down at maybe the hem of your clothes and have a look, you'll see a line of stitching. And that is backing stitch. You know, like the orange stitching that's on jeans and things like that, or at the end of your sleeve, that's usually backing stitch. We're doing it by hand, but a lot of the time that would be done by machine, wouldn't it, on clothes? Carry on round and see how it's a completely different texture and feel to running stitch. Running stitch is quite bobbly and moving along, isn't it? It's giving quite a lot of movement to it, whereas backing stitch, quite static, isn't it? Quite fills it in quite nice. When you feel it, it feels quite bobbly and neat. Carry on stitching round. Doing backing stitch. And can you see that I'm almost at the end of my red thread? And so I'm going to do exactly the same as I'm going through. I'm going to do exactly the same. Stitch through, and rather than, because in a way we want to use as much wool as we can, don't we? So carry on through. Backing stitch. I'm going to go all the way around. Pull it through. You don't have to do a song every time you finish off a piece of thread, but you know, I find it's all right. Push it underneath. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the difference on the back between running stitch and backing stitch. See how we've got almost like this raised edge? Quite nice. I don't really think it matters what becomes the front and what becomes the back in the end, because both sides are going to look super great. Okay, I'm going to leave you there with that. And then once you've finished your red going all the way around the back, it's time for orange, yellow, green, blue, purpley purple, and then an indigo. And then on the other side, if you have a look on your instructions, you'll see how you can start off on the outside again with the purple stitch. Running stitch and backing stitch are really great stitches to use. If you take a look at this star, this is also on the front of your instructions. You can see that I've used running stitch here. Very neat. And I've done backing stitch here on this blue. Look how great it looks. Look how fantastic the texture is. Back to running stitch. Then I've used backing stitch again. I love that green. Look at that green. It's like a jewel, isn't it? It's like an emerald. And take a look at this one. This is quite interesting, isn't it? I've done running stitch in orange, which would leave it looking a little bit like this. And then what I've done is I've added another line of running stitch in between in sort of like the indigo purple colour. I hope you really enjoy stitching these, and let's think about what we want to do with them. I know that with the work that you're doing with Carol, you're looking at doing the market and things like that. Maybe these could be Christmas decorations, they could be other festival decorations. They could also maybe be a keyring or a bag charm. Think about how you're going to adapt them yourself, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all the fantastic stitching that you do, and hopefully to meet you all in person one day. See you soon.